I don't know. Then I started getting stressed out. I didn't know what, okay, I'm going to take a jar of peanut butter and a spoon just in case I get hungry. I didn't know where I was going to go. I heard that we're supposed to go to Penticton, which is about 20 miles south.
Todd Shapiro had only been living in Summerland for a year after moving west with his family from Montreal for a different life in the Okanagan. They had an apartment in Summerland, and on Friday night, August 7th, it was just Shapiro, who's a professional magician, and his dog. His older son was finishing up his job as a counselor at Camp Hatikva a few hours away. His wife and other child were back in Montreal for a visit. Then, as Shapiro describes it, the Bald Range wildfire just exploded in the hills behind Summerland, and suddenly 20,000 people in the region were ordered to flee. What happened next, and how Shapiro wound up an evacuee in Kelowna, staying with his son and their dog at the home of Jewish community leader Abbey Westbury, is a remarkable story of community solidarity in the face of another summer of wildfires, including this Summerland one that's burned an area roughly the size of the city of Burlington, Ontario. It's already claimed the life of one 85-year-old Summerland resident. It remains out of control. Shapiro and Westbury are among the members of the Okanagan Jewish community directly impacted by the emergency and responding with everything from donations of pet food and even a stroller from the Chabad house in Kelowna, kugels and bagels for the evacuees and first responders from Okanagan's Jewish Centre, and in nearby Penticton, a member of the local Jewish community is overseeing a massive supply depot for evacuees.
Our people are here, and it's sort of in our nature to be helpers. So now it's being put to the test.
I'm Ellen Besner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Monday, August 17th, 2026. Welcome to North Star, the flagship podcast of the Canadian Jewish News, made possible thanks to the generous support of the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. We have several frontline accounts today from members of the Jewish community displaced or impacted by the large Summerland wildfire. Later, you'll hear from Rabbi Shmuley Hecht, also in Kelowna, and also from Tammy Bray. She's been running that regional emergency donation center in Penticton, which was actually closer to Summerland, and it was the first stop on Todd Shapiro's escape. By Tuesday night, he'd made it to Abbey Westbury's guest house in Kelowna, which is where I caught up with both of them. We're so glad to have both of you safe and sound in a house with hopefully not too much smoke outside. Thank you for joining the Canadian Jewish News North Star podcast. It's really an honor to talk to you.
Thanks, Helen.
Thank
It's good
you.
to be here.
Well,
And
after
thanks,
that long
Abby.
intro, thanking each other. You're the ones who are doing all the work. I'm just asking the questions. You must be tired. We're speaking after a harrowing couple of days, a harrowing trip for you. So you live in Summerland. And so what happened, if you could tell us, to your family home, and tell us like the time frame of when this all happened to you?
So we were actually in an apartment building, a nice one in the downtown of, I say downtown, but downtown of Summerland. When I first scrambled out of there, I had no idea. This was unprecedented from my experience. And they said evacuate, and I thought the whole town is going to burn down. Although it's not over. I mean, it's still out of control. So Friday night, 6 o'clock, I went out for dinner with my in-laws, and then we're driving back up, and we see these dark clouds, dark plumes of smoke coming from over the mountain. And then like a few minutes later, then the alarms and the notifications and people are saying, hey, you got to evacuate. I said, what the hell? Where did this come from? It was just, it definitely shocked us. It shocked me. The rest of my family was not there at the time. Two of them were still in Montreal, fortunately for them, and they're still there now. I told them,
Who's that? Who's there in Montreal?
Oh, my wife and my other son, they happened to be in Montreal, so they wisely decided not to come back. My older son was working at a camp up north here, so it was just me and the dog, and my in-laws. Yes, so yeah, the three of us said, okay, we got to get the hell out of here, and blew it. It was like a spark. They called it an explosion. It just exploded onto the scene, onto Summerland, the area. And so, so I'm kind of freaking out. I said, what do I do? What do I take? What am I supposed to take when you're, trying to leave a place? I didn't have anything packed, prepared. I just didn't expect it. Who does? But I guess people in the area, maybe they're better prepared. So I said, okay, I got to take the dog. That's important. I take my passport, my wallet, and keys, and the car. And I don't know. Then I started getting stressed out. I didn't know. Okay, I'm going to take a jar of peanut butter and a spoon just in case I get hungry. I didn't know where I was going to go. I heard that we're supposed to go to Penticton, which is about 20 miles south, and they'd have an emergency shelter for people there. Um, so but still, I wasn't thinking clearly, of course. And what I took I took like a couple of rolls of toilet paper. I thought I was camping or something, but I knew I wasn't. Anyways, yeah, I
That's
mean, in
very
some
smart
cases,
what you did take. Anyway, and
yeah,
you
72
had the
hours.
dog with you. You were allowed to take the dog.
oh yeah, of course,
And
yeah.
was it smoky and coffee? Like how did was
We got out, myself and my in-laws too. We got out before it really got bad there. Yeah, so we left well before the smoke started pouring in. So we were lucky in that way. We got out early. We didn't want to take any chances.
where was your son? You said he was at camp. How were
Yeah,
you
so
able to
that's
reunite with him and get him out?
yeah. Well, he was okay because he's in a different part of the Okanagan, which is northeast of where our place is in Summerland, far enough that the fires themselves were no threat. The smoke, though, as this thing built up over Friday night very quickly, Saturday, but growing like massively fast, the smoke going all over and going down to Penticton, was going across the lake. But they were my son and his camp, they were getting some smoke from fire up north in Vernon, I think. But I would always monitor the air quality there, even before this fire happened. And my son would be in contact. I say, "How's the smoke?" He said, "Oh, it's okay. It's not too bad. It's a little bit of smoke, but So I wasn't worried about him or the camp. So I met my in-laws at the near the convention center but my mother-in-law said, "I just checked the hotel next door and they have a room free." And she said she took it. So it's like, great. We were lucky because the rooms went just like that. So we ended up at in a hotel, which was like, for good for us, it was
So that
comfortable.
was on Saturday. You were at the hotel
Even actually
and
Friday nights.
Friday night,
Friday night,
Saturday.
Saturday.
And
Yeah.
then what did you do? How did you end up in
Okay,
and
well that was
staying in Abby's house?
I was in the hotel with my in-laws for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I knew my son was finishing camp. It turns out finishing camp on the Tuesday. My wife, though, in Montreal, she said, "You know what? Why don't you guys come to Montreal? Because this could go on for a while." And Abby put it out there to the community, and my wife passed the information on that. Abby offered a place for us, for me and my in-laws, and for Elijah and my dog. Thank you. To to
That's your
to
dog's
stay.
name.
He's adorable.
Louis, Louis,
Louis?
yeah,
Louis. What
Mr.
kind of dog is
Adorable.
he?
He's a Shih Tzu. And Abby said, stay at my place in the guest house, not far from the airport. That's, as you know, a machaya. I think that's the right word. It's a wonderful thing and so much appreciated. So that's how we ended up here, just this afternoon and evening.
With what? One suitcase.
Yeah,
Well, all the
well,
camp
well,
suitcases.
yeah, Elijah had like big suitcases. He's got the big duffel bags. But I had like just a little bag with peanut butter and a spoon.
Did you end up eating
That's
some
all
of
you
it and
need.
your toilet paper?
And my toilet paper, yeah. So I'm traveling light, that sort of thing.
Can you tell us some of the activities that the Jewish community has done over the last 2 days, besides giving refuge to poor abandoned people?
So we made food. We just sort of all got together. We used the kitchen at the Okanagan Jewish Community, which is a food safe certified kitchen. When I did my very quick middle of the night research, they said they're not taking any homemade food. So we all got together and I spent the morning buying all the stuff to make. And then we spent all evening last night
This
making a
is
whole bunch
Monday
of
night cooking.
this is Monday night. Yeah, cooking, making lunches. We had thankfully, some things already in our freezer, some lovely kugels that were made from a multicultural event. And they said, take the kugels, take the kugels. And we have a fantastic bagel restaurant in town that's run by two Jewish guys. And they were like, come and get the bagels. So
They
the
donated those. Yeah.
yeah, the Salvation Army it has really been at the front in Kelowna and coordinating fresh food for people. So I got in touch with those people and they were like, okay, we need breakfast for tomorrow. We need lunch for the next day. Da, da, da. And then up in Vernon as well, because there are still evacuees there. It's an animal auxiliary organization that's running the food. We really wanted to get to the front lines. That's a little harder. As it happens, my next door neighbor is a fireman on the front lines. And I spoke with his wife and figured out how to get the food to them as well. So feeding people, at least they don't have to think about that part. And it's healthy food and it's giving them a little bit of carb, which they probably need. We're doing what we can do. And we'll see if they need us again later in the week. We'll do it again if we have to. And then, just sending out through Federation. Unfortunately, last time there was a big fire in the Okanagan, Federation started a fire relief fund that they sort of do in conjunction with the Okanagan Jewish community. So I spoke with my boss there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and by 6:15 she had that up and running again for us as well. So that's a place for people who can't do volunteering but want to help, and that money will go directly to relief. And through the OJC and through Chabad House, we all said, look, anything you need, if you need us to connect you with people who can house you, if you need whatever you need, contact us and we will find the people who can help you. So, it's not a lot that we can do on the front lines as volunteers. A bunch of, our community really stepped up. I said, it's time for some Tikkun Olam, everybody. And immediately, it was the middle of the night on Saturday. The Summerland fire was very fast. And so it was a very quick response. Got 20 people who said, I want to help, tell me how to help. So the first thing we could do was offer space to the people who were evacuated.
How is your wine business going to be affected? You grow grapes.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's sort of been the apocalypse here for about 5 years now. And so as a farmer, it's very hard. Yeah.
You said the 5 years has been an apocalypse, and we've covered this every summer. And yet, Todd, you moved there into, quote, the apocalypse. Are you rethinking maybe your decision to stay there? Because if it's like this every summer, has it crossed your mind?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, sure. It's definitely passed through my mind. Like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe is this a sign? What's kind of ironic is that one of the things that drove me crazy about back in Montreal is that we had like the incredible amount of rain, spring, summer, the rains, the heavy, heavy rains. And this summer apparently was terrible. Floods. We had like on 2 occasions over the past several years, our different houses of ours got flooded. The basement's flooded just from just crazy pouring rain. And so I was like just so tired of all the floods and rain. So maybe part of me was like, okay, let's get away from this rainy place and somewhere where we don't get much rain. Oops. And now I feel like, okay, you know what? Flooded basement. It's not the worst thing. Just one thing I would say is that and Abby has definitely alluded to this, the people, in these incredibly challenging times, like very, very difficult times, the way they come together, I'm just amazed, when I see down in Penticton how people, volunteers, and they're providing this and that for everybody. It's incredible, and that really lifts the spirits and the way that people come together in these times. That's what I've noticed, and I can appreciate that a lot.
Rabbi Shmuley Hecht and his wife Frady opened the Chabad of Okanagan 15 years ago, and so they're no strangers to responding to wildfire emergencies. 2 summers ago in 2023, Kelowna itself was impacted by a wildfire that destroyed or damaged 200 homes and forced 35,000 area residents to be evacuated. This time the fire is farther away, but the smoke has been really bad. That didn't keep Rabbi Hecht and his family from swinging into action last weekend, even though he suffered a serious asthma attack because of the poor air quality. He joined me from the Chabad house, where his family and members gathered hundreds of supplies and necessities to hand out.
Thanks for having me, Ellen. Great to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you're able to speak. I hear the air's been pretty bad, and you personally have had some health challenges because of all the smoke. Tell us what's been going on.
Yes, so in the past, this is probably the 6th or 7th time in the last 15 years, thank God, that we're here, that we've been able to be of support to people in their time of need in a mass setting like this. And I was sitting and talking with my wife, and I said, this is what's going on. This is what the news is saying. And we need to put ourselves out there. We need to do what we can. So in the past, what we've done is, first of all, we've called people in our community to make sure they're okay. Secondly, we collected names of people in our community who can host people. And thirdly, we like to provide physical items that are needed for evacuees and host families. Providing for the host families and the evacuees simultaneously, and it does something really special. It helps with dignity, because basically you give the evacuees an opportunity to come and either pick up a package of toiletries, blankets, towels, pillows, tons of things that all of a sudden when someone's hosting, you don't realize they need more of this in the house. And it gives an opportunity for the evacuee to say, here, I'm going to contribute to the host families. And it also supports the host families at the same time. Some people come pick it up. A lot of people we deliver. I've been on the road, and we have about 8 to 10 volunteers who are doing the work here and delivering and so on. And I'll add one more fourth thing, which I think is also very unique to what Chabad Okanagan is offering, and that is the emotional and spiritual, finding meaning aspect to all of this. I remember a few nights ago, we had a young boy in his 20s. He called me, it was probably 11 o'clock at night, and he called me, literally was crying on the phone. He's having trouble at home in general, and now with the fires. And I literally was able to sit and just listen to him, first of all, give him the space. He cried so much. And then to right away, within 30 minutes, to connect him with another family. I woke them up, and they were so happy to help, and he was able to go and stay with them.
Are you hosting anybody? Have you hosted people?
We've hosted people many times. We've hosted people. Last time by the fires, we had elderly people staying in my office. This year, thank God, we are not hosting anybody. We actually have camp running with 20 children, thank God, the only Jewish day camp in the Okanagan.
Can you still have them even with the smoke, though? How do you manage that? We
still have the camp, and we changed all of our trips to indoor trips. It's more expensive, but we want to be able to have that sense of responsibility, and people should have the assurance that when they're sending the kids to camp, they can plan accordingly. So we did not want to cancel. We kept it going. We have a doctor, Dr. Alpert, who's a member of our community, and a wonderful, wonderful woman who's guiding our medical planning, medical protocol. And we've been doing indoor trips. Right now, they're at an indoor trip as well. And
where are they?
They're at a rock climbing place in Kelowna. It's called Crux, Crux.
That's actually ironic, because people come to Kelowna to go hiking, and now you have to do it indoors.
We connected about 10 people so far with families to stay, and we're bringing food to different places. Just yesterday, we had a family that reached out asking if we couldn't give them a stroller and toys for the kids. Within a few hours, we were there at the hotel where they were staying, provided by I think the government's providing those hotels. But we came over with a stroller with huge basket of veggies and fruits and toys for the kids and toiletries and other food items, fresh bread my wife is baking every day. And it's really so special to be able to help, to be in the giving, running around. We also had a Shiva house that we were going to every single day during this time with camp running, with all this going on. But I was going outside so much, I didn't realize how much I was taking in, and I really got sick. Middle of the night, after like the second night, in the middle of the night, I got up and I just could not sleep for a few hours, and I realized it's pretty serious. I had asthma as a child. I never had an outbreak, but 3 nights ago I did, and thank God, Dr. Alpert, I mentioned before, we got a steroid puffer and some antihistamines, and took care of myself. It was so nice, actually. One of the nice things when people hear the work we're doing, I guess the people who know us, it's so beautiful. The messages that we've been receiving, like Rabbi or my wife getting messages, thank you for all the great work and tell us what you need, and people dropping things off. And then they leave a line at the end, and don't forget about yourself.
Well, you sound Hazerik still. It doesn't sound,
pepper is right here in my hand now, and thank God I'm feeling a little better.
Okay, you said 15 years you've been there, and for the past, let's say, 6 of these years, it's been really terrible smoke and fires. And we've talked about it, you and I, before in other years.
Probably 90% of the people we're helping, obviously we don't know, they're not Jewish. It's about the dignity of human life that Judaism teaches us. Every soul is a spark of God, and we need to preserve it and support it. There's a really amazing animal charity here in town called Lend a Paw. And it's actually, we're really great friends with them. His name is Mickey and his wife's name is Jen. And we connected with them throughout all these, different events that happened. And one of the things we offer is also dog food and cat food. And that's a pretty popular item we give out to a lot of people. But also Mickey told me, like, Rabbi, if somebody's going to need, if someone's in a hotel and they need a bed for their dog, we can provide that. So we're able to connect people with them, and they can give all these other additional things to help the animals.
So I heard that a lot of people had to leave their animals behind because the fire was so fast.
Yeah, Mickey and Jen have been working to help evacuate horses and other animals. Like, they're really doing beautiful work.
Are they members of your community?
They are, and it's an honor to work together with them.
There's a great video on YouTube, which is how I noticed that you were doing it. You all look so happy, but I mean, that was early days, and now it's a little bit more real. It's hitting home how tired you must be.
Well, yeah, but it's happy to be able to help. There's nothing more fulfilling than helping someone else. So you never know. Just go to a neighbor, go to a friend, and just lift up their day.
Listen, Rabbi, you take care of yourself. We'll check back in with you and see how things are going. And thank you so much
for having me about it.
Last week, the rabbi's wife received an award from the local member of parliament for her efforts with the wildlife relief work in Kelowna. Community member Tammy Bray lives on the south end of the lake in Penticton, where Todd Shapiro stayed for the first few nights. Her day job is as an environmentalist with a local environmental organization, and since the fire broke out 10 days ago, she's been staffing a regional donation and distribution center so evacuees can come get whatever they need. She's exhausted, but also frustrated that the same scenario plays out summer after summer.
I work for a not-for-profit that supports local governments with taking climate action. So my day job is very closely tied to this. We support communities with how they can prepare and adapt. But that's not the hat that I'm wearing through this crisis response.
Okay, but you are wearing this inside, maybe not today. So, I mean, this is not new. It's been happening for, at least 5 years that I've been doing this job. What can they do? Because it's not going to stop. Climate is changing. So what's the top ask you have once this is over?
My top ask is for people to say the word climate. It's shocking to me that not one elected official or government official, from the premier to the ministers to the mayors to the councillors to anybody that I've heard in this response, the only person that has used the word climate is the chief of the Penticton Indian Band. Nobody else is using the word climate or making the link. And I know that there's lots of political backlash against science and against facts and climate action right now. And we're seeing that, but it's time for us to be brave and call it like it is and use the word climate.
It's costing how many millions and people's health? I know so many people were coughing, they had asthma.
Yeah, the costs to society from health and infrastructure and all the rest are astronomical from these disasters. And so even if you don't, as I do, feel like a deep responsibility to care for the earth and the natural environment, and all you care about is money, this still is something that's important to you.
It's important, and I'm not we're the Canadian Jewish News, and so, we're not the main environmental media outlets, but it's important to have this voice from somebody in the community. So I'm really glad we touched on that in the end of our interview.
Yeah, and I mean, not that I'm a deeply religious person, but I will just say that I think my understanding of Judaism is that there's a calling for us to care about and protect the earth and nature and all living beings, and that part of that is addressing climate action. So I see a deep link between those things. And then in terms of community service, I feel called to be a light in the darkness, and that's what I've been trying to do.
I'm Ellen Besner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounded like for this episode of North Star, made possible thanks to Ira Gluskin and Maxime Gronowski-Gluskin's charitable foundation. Todd Shapiro and his son and the dog flew to Montreal from Kelowna last Wednesday. They're staying there for the time being. So far, their apartment in Summerland is fine, he tells me, but evacuation orders are still in place for most people, so it could be several weeks before they know when they can go back. To learn more about local Jewish community wildfire efforts or to donate to the B.C. Jewish Federation's Wildfire Fund or the Chabad's Relief Fund, or both, go to the links in our show notes. North Star is produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman and Izzy Hellenchild, with Michael Freeman as executive producer and Alicia Richler, the editorial director. If you or somebody you know has been impacted by wildfires this summer in Canada, write to us at info@thecjn.ca and share your experiences. Thanks for listening.